Playing good defense is hard in Madden 24. Let's be honest, we've all dealt with it this year. We've all had trouble getting stops because of how the game plays. However, there's a new best defense that's starting to catch on, and this will give you the absolute best chance of getting stops in Madden 24 if you use it properly. To start though, we need to cover a few very important things that you need to know before we even jump into the plays themselves. Otherwise, without this knowledge, the actual plays just won't matter that much and you won't be able to get stops. The first thing we need to do is set our coaching adjustments. So at the play call screen, what we want to do is we want to press the right thumbstick in as if it was a button to pull up our coaching adjustments. We want to make sure that our auto flimp defensive play call is off for this defense to work to the highest level. We also want to make sure that our auto alignment is set to base, which is a very key point of this defense because this allows us to be able to set up the defense on the field a little bit quicker because this eliminates one step that we have to do every single time we take the field. This last part of the coaching adjustments is absolutely crucial. Without this, you're going to be lost out there on defense. You want to make sure that your zone drop flats are set to 30. Very important. Not 25, not 20. They need to be on 30. Then you want to make sure that your zone drop curl flats are set to 5. These two adjustments right here are going to come into play big time for certain adjustments we're going to make that will absolutely lock up our opponents. The next key thing we need to look at is our personnel before we even get started, because once again, if this isn't correct, you will not be able to get the most out of this defense. The most important player in this defense is going to be your middle linebacker. Since we're in the formation 4-3 even 6-1, we cannot put a safety in this spot, and as most of you probably know, safeties are much better users than linebackers because they get better animations. So since we're forced to use our linebacker, we want to make sure that we have a linebacker that either has the lurker ability or the lurk artist ability. So on the regular game, you can do this with the Niners as Fred Warner has the lurker ability, or you can do it with the Buccaneers as Levante David has the lurker ability. If you don't have this ability, you can still get away with it. The formation just isn't going to be as good, but make sure you at least have a guy here that's fast and tall. If you're an ultimate team, make sure to get a number of the guys that have the lurk artist ability, which is even better than lurker, and it's going to make your user 10 times more powerful. The next key positions are the outside linebackers. So right here I have Dre Greenlaw, and on the other side I have D Winters. These guys are fast. You want fast guys here for when we do call a blitz because these are the guys that are going to be rushing. However, you want to try to get some guys with some decent zone coverage here as well because they're going to also be playing zone a good bit of the time. Now in the 4-3 even 6-1, there are multiple plays we need to use in order to make this the best defense in the game. If you just use any one play, you're going to get picked apart because of how Madden 24 plays. You need to have the element of surprise. You need to be able to mix it up on your opponent, otherwise you're just going to be lost. Now here are all of the playbooks that have the 4-3 even 6-1, but I do recommend the Patriots playbook as they also have the cover 2 play in that playbook. You can still use other playbooks, but if you want to get the most out of it, the Patriots will be the best. Now the first play we're going to look at is the Sam Will Blitz. This is the man blitz, and there's a couple different ways we're going to run this. Again, just running it one way is not how to get good defense in Madden 24. You need to run things multiple ways in order to surprise your opponent. Now, since we're already base aligned, that's one less step we have to do. To set this up to create insane pressure, really all we have to do is pinch the D-line, which is left on the D-pad, down on the left stick, and then we want to crash the D-line down, which is left on the D-pad, down on the right stick. Make sure to double check that your D-line is actually crashed down, because as you can see here, they're still not crashed down. Sometimes, for whatever reason, you need to crash your defense twice, and you can see now this is what it's supposed to look like. They're on the inside. Now, one additional thing I will do here in man defense is I'll take the guy on the running back, and I like to bring him down just because if the running back does go to the flat or on a wheel route, he'll defend it a little bit better if he's closer to the line of scrimmage. Now, the last important thing you need to do is you need to take your user linebacker and you want to stand him in front of the center until you see those 2 green bars pop up over his head. That means the offensive line is going to recognize him as a potential pass rushing threat, which will just help your pressure come in better. Now, what I like to do, which I think is a sneaky tip here, is I let the computer actually user the linebacker for the first second or two, and then I take over. I find this also helps the pressure come in better, and it also puts him in the perfect position to play defense. So for this example, he's manned up on the tight end, so he'll immediately run to the tight end and put me in perfect position to take over. So what I do is once I set my linebacker here, I don't hold or press any buttons, and when the ball is snapped, he will immediately run out here and then I can take over. And you can see we've got pressure up the middle and from the outside. The reason this happens is because with your linebacker standing here, sometimes that allows for the inside guys to get free easily, and one or two of the outside rushers will come in usually from the outside, and with quick pressure like this and everybody manned up, we're going to get the best of our opponent. Now really quickly, before we get into the next part of the breakdown, which is very important, I do want to let you know that I also have a Patreon page where I post the highest level Madden tips, strategies, and my ebooks to help you dominate and stop losing these games that you should be winning. If you want to check that out after this video, the link is in the pinned comment below. Now, if they start blocking a running back, you might not get pressure as quickly, but you're still going to be in a good situation because that's one less receiving option on the field, and the safety manned up to him will turn into a zone defender. So I will leave the setup the same most of the time, and a lot of times you will still get pressure off of one edge just like this, even with the running back blocking, and that's why this blitz is so powerful. But we can't just run this same cover zero blitz every play like we could last year, because this year they're not nearly as good or as powerful, and a good opponent will start picking you apart. So the next thing you want to do is you want to mix up this coverage with the same setup of just pinching and crashing the line, but what you want to do is then you want to put your outside linebackers in the purple zone. You can get on them, press the A button on Xbox or the X button on PlayStation, and then go right on the left stick for a curl flat. Jump to the other side, do the same thing. And now what's going to happen here is another thing you could do if you think the running back is definitely going to the flat, you can take this safety and put him into a different zone as well, because you don't need him defending the running back if you have this curl flat that's already running to the flat. However, if you're playing somebody that likes to put their running back on wheel routes or on streaks or something like that, maybe you want to leave him manned up. However, you can always bounce over the middle of the field and defend that, because in this example right here, if we have a curl flat on the right, I don't have to defend the tight end now. What I do is I'm just going to stay over the middle of the field, and look at the pressure we got up the middle. And you might think that's a fluke, but it's not. That will happen a good amount of the time with this formation. And really quickly, if you're getting value out of this video and you always want to be up to date on the latest Madden tips, go ahead, subscribe, turn the bell icon on so you never miss any of these important breakdowns. Now, the next important defense we need to look at is the cover 4 quarters play. Now, again, we're going to set this up the same way. We're going to pinch the D-line and we are going to crash them down. Again, double check to make sure your D-line is actually crashed down. And remember, we have our curl flats. Even though these are quarter flats, they're going to still apply to the curl flats because they're purple zones. They're going to play 5 yards. So what we're doing is calling a cover 4 here, which is one of the better ways to play zone coverage this year, because you have 4 deep zones. We're able to take away the flats. Our responsibility is covering the middle, and we do have a good amount of ground that we have to cover, but because they're going to be expecting the blitz, they're going to be expecting rush up the A gap, this is where you start playing cat and mouse, because now they don't know if you're going all out zone, if you're going man with zone, if you're going all out blitz, and this is where you start to confuse people. But we got a setup coming up in a second that's even crazier than this one, and it's one of the best setups in the game. So again, I'm going to stand in the same spot with my user. I'm going to let the computer take him over for a brief second, then I'm going to fall into coverage, and you can see we're getting pretty decent block sheds, and everything was pretty covered on the play. Now, maybe the most important play of this whole scheme is Tampa 2, and you're probably asking, how is just a basic Tampa 2 important? Well, it comes back to the coaching adjustments that we said at the beginning. Now, once again, we are going to pinch and we are going to crash the D-line down. What we're going to do here is we're going to do the curl flat adjustment on the outside linebackers. What we've done with this setup right here is we have double Mabel the field. This is one of the hardest coverages for most Madden players to go against. Yes, the middle of the field is open, but that is our responsibility. However, most Madden players do not want to attack the middle of the field. They want to attack the sidelines because that's where the user typically is not. This makes it almost impossible to attack the sidelines because we have curl flats going to the flats at 5 yards. Our cloud flats are dropping back to 30, which eliminates things like corner routes or deep crossing routes. And then we have 2 deep zones going even deeper that's going to eliminate those deep passes. And this mix in with the different blitzes that we have is going to make it extremely hard for somebody to find an open receiver, especially if they like to run these compressed sets like bunch or shotgun tight. Now, on top of knowing the best defensive scheme, you need to know about these 5 secret defensive tips to improve your defense even further, and you can check out that video right on the screen.